Have you ever really looked at a banana? You know, it's one of the cheapest things in your shopping cart, right? But the journey it takes to get to your kitchen? Well, it's a quiet miracle of global logistics. And it reveals pretty much everything about the triumphs and the fragilities of our crazy interconnected world.
Right, because if you can understand this one fruit, specifically our hero for this story, the Cavendish banana, you can understand the entire global supply chain. It's all right there. So let's follow its journey. Our story kicks off in Ecuador, the world's #1 banana exporter. And you've got to understand, from day one, this banana isn't just grown to be eaten. Oh no, it is meticulously engineered to survive a very, very long trip.
I mean, look at this. This is less like a farm and more like a factory assembly line. They're harvested all year round, they're wrapped in these blue bags for protection, they're cut to exact specifications, and then they're moved on these overhead cables so they don't get a single bruise. After they're washed, sorted, and packed, what was once a simple fruit is now a standardized global commodity.
So this brings us to the central challenge, right? You've got this perfectly engineered but still very perishable piece of fruit. How on earth do you get it thousands of miles across an ocean without it turning into a pile of mush?
The answer is this one, single number, 13.3 degrees Celsius. This is the magic number. It is the single most important temperature in the entire banana trade, and it's the secret that makes this whole thing possible.
And this is what's known as the cold chain. By chilling the banana to exactly 13.3 degrees, you're not just making it cold. You are literally hacking its biology. You're putting it into a state of suspended animation, basically putting it to sleep so it stops ripening. Any colder and the fruit gets damaged, any warmer and it ripens way too fast. That precision is what turns a piece of fruit into a stable, predictable unit of inventory. Okay, so our hibernating banana is ready for its big trip. And that brings us to the next hero of our story, the simple, boring, standardized shipping container. The invention that, and this is no exaggeration, made globalization possible. Before the 1950s, shipping was a nightmare. Everything was loaded piece by painful piece. A ship could be stuck in port for weeks. Then this American guy, Malcolm McLean, had a genius idea. Instead of moving all the individual cargo, why not just move the entire box? It created this seamless system that turned weeks of labor into just a few hours. And the economic impact? It was just staggering. Studies show that over 20 years, containerization boosted trade between the countries that adopted it by about 700%. I mean, that's more than most free trade deals accomplish. It completely changed the world.
Now, our banana doesn't travel in just any old box. It travels in a reefer, a high-tech refrigerated container. But it's way more than a cold box. Think of it as a mobile life support system. It holds that perfect 13.3 degree temperature and uses what's called controlled atmosphere tech, managing oxygen and CO2 to put the banana into an even deeper sleep, extending its shelf life for up to 40 days.
So, to get from Ecuador to, say, the UK, our reefer has to go through one of the planet's most critical maritime choke points, the Panama Canal. This 82-kilometer shortcut is an absolute game-changer, saving weeks of travel time. It's a marvel of efficiency. But, as we're about to see, it's also a massive point of vulnerability. Okay, so after a few weeks at sea, our banana finally arrives in the UK. It's still green, still totally dormant. But now, the final and maybe most crucial manufacturing step is about to begin. And this is where the genius of just-in-time logistics kicks in. See, the system doesn't just push bananas out there and hope for the best. It's a pull system. A supermarket places an order, and only then does the process start. The green banana is basically a component. The ripening center is the final assembly plant. And it only manufactures a yellow banana when it's needed.
So, inside these special ripening rooms, the hibernation is reversed with scientific precision. It's a 6-day cycle. They raise the temperature. They introduce a tiny bit of ethylene gas, which is the banana's own natural ripening hormone, to wake it up. The starches turn to sugar. The peel goes from green to yellow, and right when it hits that perfect shade, they drop the temperature again to hit pause, making it ready for the supermarket shelf.
So when you buy that banana, where does your money actually go? What's pretty wild is that all the logistics, the shipping, the ripening, the retail markup, that makes up well over half the cost. The actual production and the wages for the farm workers who grew it, that's only about a quarter of the final price tag.
So we've just seen this beautiful, complex, hyper-efficient system. But here's the catch. That extreme efficiency, which is built on having zero waste and zero redundancy, well, that's also its greatest weakness.
So what happens when this perfectly tuned machine hits a snag? Well, often, it starts with a single point of failure. Just one little incident that can have immediate and catastrophic global consequences. I mean, we all remember the Ever Given, right? March 2021. One massive ship gets stuck sideways in the Suez Canal for just 6 days. The impact was instant. 12% of all global trade just stopped. Almost $10 billion in goods were held up every single day. It was a shocking reminder of just how fragile these critical choke points really are.
But the threats aren't always a sudden, dramatic accident. Some disruptions are more like a slow-burning crisis, like the ones being driven by our changing climate.
Let's go back to the Panama Canal. Starting in 2023, a really severe drought lowered the water levels in the lakes that feed the canal's locks. To save water, the authorities had to slash the number of ships they let through each day, which created these enormous traffic jams out at sea and forced companies to take long, expensive detours.
And then there's the third kind of disruption. This is when the trade routes themselves are turned into geopolitical weapons. Since late 2023, attacks by Houthi militants in the Red Sea have forced huge shipping companies to completely abandon the Suez Canal route. So instead, they're going all the way around Africa. That adds up to 2 weeks to a trip and costs over $1 million extra in fuel for a single voyage. It just shows you how a regional conflict can literally redraw the map of global trade overnight.
All of this chaos has forced a massive shift in thinking. The old obsession with pure efficiency is fading. The new buzzword is resilience. Companies are moving from just-in-time to a just-in-case strategy, holding more inventory, finding suppliers closer to home, and using AI and tech to try and see the next big disruption before it even happens.
Which, of course, brings us right back to our banana. It's a perfect symbol of a world built on this breathtaking but brittle efficiency. These constant shocks have revealed the hidden costs of that system, so the real question we're left with is this. As we try to build a safer, more resilient world, are we ready to pay the price for it at the checkout?